Of Millionaires Are Made, the show where we believe that you can grow to become a millionaire in all 6 aspects of health. Today, we are focusing on physical health, but we also do shows on your mental health, your social health, your spiritual health, your financial health, and your intellectual health. Every week, it's a new show. Today, we're focusing on your physical health, how to be a millionaire with regards to sugar. If you have never seen Millionaires Are Made, it is a show built on the fundamental belief that every person you meet in this huge wide world knows something you don't, and that there's something to be learned from everyone all around you. In the spirit of authenticity and to remove any sort of bias as much as possible, I don't even meet or know about our guests or their tips until about 15 minutes before the show when we meet in the green room to go over the process. So the tips you're about to hear from these 3 awesome guests are going to be from them, their own tips, ready to go. So hopefully one of them resonates with you and you can go follow them and learn more and grow in your life. Audience, we love your engagement. Please comment. We will share them on our screen. Ask questions. We will ask them live to our guests. And on that note, we are going to do our follower shout out here in a second. If you want to be on our show, we love having guests and we always need more. And I know you have something to talk about. Please sign up, millionairesaremade.com. Link is being dropped right now. And if you have a topic that you're struggling through right now, something that you are curious about, or something that maybe you're trying to push through and having some troubles, let us know. We'll go find 3 awesome guests. They'll share their tips, and hopefully that can help you get through it. Our follower shout out on Facebook, we got Megan Jones. Thank you for following us. Instagram, Julie Doherty, you rock. Thank you so much for your support. And on TikTok, we have Lori Pacheco. You are amazing. Thank you guys so much. That's your follower shout out. And if you like what we do, you love sharing free information and helping everyone grow on this world, please hit that like button or subscribe button or share or send stars or whatever social media you're on. That helps us out greatly. And if you want even more one-on-one information, I do offer free growth sessions as part of my entire new life of giving back and sharing as much information as possible. So if you want to learn from me, the link's being dropped right now. You can sign up for free coaching and hopefully I can help you out some as well. Without further ado, we are going to move into our show. It is physical health and sugar. And I don't know if this is a tip or not, but I do want to say that I think there are 3 major addictions affecting America right now that are really killing us. And one I talk about a lot is alcohol. And as someone who has not drank in 2.5 years, I still believe that. But I think our second worst addiction in America is sugar, and that we have a massive problem with it. On this island I live in the Virgin Islands, it's a U.S. territory. And I think there's a huge, huge problem there I see every day. But sugar, wow. We are going to bring out our first guest, Heather, and see what her thoughts are about it. Heather, who are you?
Hello, I am a metabolic coach. So I specialize in balancing your blood sugar to allow your body to be able to metabolize and run and function as best it can.
Great. All right. Well, I think that you have an answer on this next one for us. If I wanted to improve my physical health regarding sugar, what tiny piece of advice would you give me?
Learning to read a nutrition label.
Learn to
Getting
read the
familiar with
nutrition
that
label.
yes.
Go ahead.
Being able to understand, what is going into your body. If foods that are, pretty high in sugar tend to also be pretty high in calories, where there's not generally a lot of nutritional value there. So probably you're still going to be hungry.
So what specific things on a nutrition label do I need to be looking for?
Generally speaking, I teach my clients, like, number one, understand what's a serving size, and then understand your macronutrients. So fats, carbohydrates, and proteins, those are the majority of where your calories are going to be coming from. And then, from there, the values are given, and then that's how you add those up. And that becomes the serving size, the nutritional value, to understand, like I said, what your body can actually use versus just consuming calories.
Okay. So as far as sugar on the nutrition label, how much is too much? Very generic question. Enlighten
Um,
us.
it is a very generic question. So I'm gonna pick a food just to kind of give you an idea.
Right.
So a lot of people wonder about like protein bars. How do I decide what's a good one to look at? So what I
Okay.
tell my clients is we want to look for anywhere from like 1 to 4 grams of sugar in the whole bar. Kind of a rule
Ooh.
of thumb I teach my clients: if you pick something up and it has more sugar in it than protein, odds are you probably better find a different bar. But a lot of them actually do have more sugar than protein in them.
Okay, let's talk about someone. Let's. Oh, this is actually a great question. I should probably say this for
Okay.
later today, but we're gonna go with it right now. All right. So sugar versus artificial sweeteners, right? Like a diet Coke. Oh, there. I'm glad you reacted that way. Tell us, is regular Coke with like its, I think, I don't know, 40 grams of sugar, or a diet Coke with its artificial sweetener? Which one do you think is going to be more nutritional, and why?
Nutritional, neither. There's not much nutritional value in either one of those options. However, what takes me, this is a good topic, but it kind of depends on what side of the fence you stand on. Sugar is actually linked to feed tumor cells. Also, what comes with increasing your odds of getting cancer, uh, being overweight, being obese. So it's like we're taking something where we're getting a lot of just empty calories that our body can't really use much of, and we're pairing it with sugar. So that just kind of is adding to the probability of the studies showing that sugar feeds tumor cells, that kind of stuff, versus your artificial sweeteners where there's no calories, there's no added to the potentiality of being overweight as far as consuming those. But all in all, I think it's just finding a middle ground that makes sense to you, and what's the risk for you, what's the benefit for you, and finding and creating your own kind of study, or what resonates with you as far as your health when it comes to that. But like I said, neither one of them have hardly any nutritional value.
All right, all right. Well, Coke was a sponsor till that conversation.
You should have told me before. We should have said Pepsi.
My bad, my bad. Dang, dang, dang. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much, Heather. We're gonna move on to our next guest, and we'll bring you back out for the round robin in a second. Sugar is the food of the devil. Hey, RG, who are you?
Hey man, how's it going? My name is RG Ensign. I'm proudly serving as an active duty Navy sailor. I'm also an investor and entrepreneur. I run a digital marketing agency called Ensign Media, and I also co-own a pet boarding business with my wife.
Dang. Okay, so you do just about everything. But let me ask you this. Maybe you know something about sugar. If I wanted to improve my physical health regarding sugar, what tiny tip would you give me? You with us, RG? All right. Well, we are going to move on, I guess. We'll see if RG gets back in a second. Is this me? All right, Heather, you back out.
It's me again.
I guess, yeah, I guess he just logged out. Oh, here we go. Never mind. Sorry, Heather. Barbara's here, so we're gonna go move on to her. What a chaotic show already. Barbara, you're up. Ready to go?
I am so sorry I am late. I was on a call with a client and
You're all good. We're live, Barbara. Who are you?
I'm a board certified master health coach who actually overcame breast cancer naturally without surgery, radiation, or chemo. And since then, I have become a total nutrition geek because that was pivotal for me to conquer that disease for sure.
All right, Barbara. Well, tell us this. If I wanted to improve my physical health regarding sugar, what tiny piece of advice would you give me?
Oh boy. I would say, I would tell you to be aware that sugar is in so many different things out there, even things that you don't think it's in. Like it's in things like sports drinks. Sometimes it's even in dry teas. Like unsuspecting places are where you're going to find sugar. And so even if you're a person who's thinking to yourself, I really should do something about this, I really should, cut back on my sugar. The best way that you could do that is to start to become aware of the different types of names for sugar, where they hide in your foods, and get really acquainted with your ingredients labels, especially if you buy processed foods at all.
Okay, so I mean, Heather, you might have missed it. She said almost the same thing. It's really about educating yourself with what you're putting, what's in your product. And I mean, I guess I don't really read. I read them for the most part, but I'm most of my food is I cook myself at home. I don't eat a lot of processed. I hope.
Mm-hmm.
So where in your life journey did you learn this?
Well, I actually learned it when I was facing cancer because I was diagnosed with 8 years ago. I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I had no idea that that sugar actually feeds cancer, and that was bad news for me because I was a real sweet tooth junk food junkie, first gal in line for the fast food drive-through. That was me. I didn't know. I wasn't like a healthy person like maybe you are, Austin. I was just like,
I try. I don't know. I'm trying. I don't eat much sugar or fast food. That's for sure.
I just didn't know. And then when I found out that sugar feeds cancer, I thought, uh-oh, I got to take a look at this and maybe make some shifts, because if I wanted to have a shot at getting better, I didn't want to keep like feeding the problem. I wanted to, alleviate the problem, and getting rid of sugar was a big piece of that for me. Not only that, but sugar is one important thing, like in regard to the cancer thing, like a big important part of getting over something like that, or preventing it in your life, is having a really strong immune system. And when you eat sugar, it actually suppresses that. So you become more inclined to other illnesses and, stuff that you don't want happening in your body. So yeah.
Interesting. I think. Oh man, I'm excited to hear some more about this. I want to get to the nitty gritty. Barbara, thank you so much. We're gonna move on to our next guest, and we'll bring you out in the round robin here. All right, RG, let's do
Sorry
this
about
again.
that.
If I want to improve my physical health regarding sugar, what tiny piece of advice do you give me?
Definitely understanding carbohydrates.
Understanding carbohydrates. Okay, tell us why.
So this is coming from my journey so far because a couple months ago I recently found out that I have diabetes, and I'm Asian, so like born and raised from the Philippines and all that stuff. And growing up, like all we would eat, like each and every meal, there's always rice, and rice
Oh,
is basically like there's a lot of sugar with rice that comes with it. But I didn't really think about it as a form of sugar. But now that I have diabetes and all that stuff, I'm now learning that from talking to nutritionists, my doctor, and all that stuff. So I guess like understanding that sugar is essentially just one form of carbohydrates will definitely help you track and be better with your diet.
I recently heard, tell me if this is true, if you cook rice with coconut oil, it reduces either the sugar spike, the glucose spike, or I think it's the glucose spike, or even the caloric intake. Have you heard anything about that?
I have not, but I personally don't use coconut oil. I've been using olive oil compared to coconut oil.
Virgin olive oil. Make sure it's the real
Yeah,
stuff from Italy. That's
yeah,
the best. There's a lot of frauds out there. All right, well, you kind of told us about your journey. I think that's the point in this show where we're gonna bring everyone out.
yep.
Yeah, I think so. All right. My first question for all of you right now is going to be, how much sugar a day can you eat and still be considered healthy and active, etc., based on like a 150-pound person?
I'll jump in. I'll go first. The tricky part is like understanding what's the how much there's not a lot, but it's understanding what source of sugar it's coming from, whether it's just the glucose, if it's the fructose, or if it's lactose. So depending on which form you're getting, if your body can benefit from it, because there is, our DNA, deoxyribose nucleic acid, like the OSE, that's the sugar component of each of those different sources. Like our body needs some, but it's understanding the source, and it's understanding the, the other added benefits. So like, say you take fructose, so that's the fruit version of, to eat the actual fruit versus the juice, you have the water that's naturally occurring in the fruit along with the fiber that's going to help, where if it's just the juice, now it's just the compressed sugar component of that fructose. So how much you consume a day, are you looking at calorically? I would say maybe, or grams, I guess, maybe.
You say 4 grams?
I would say probably, no, I said if you're looking at grams, sorry.
Okay.
I'm trying to configure in my head, sorry, like the teaspoon quantity. I think it's like, I want to say 4 to 8 teaspoons of sugar, and that's throughout your whole day. And that's just a combination of the different sources.
And they probably have that much in one Coca-Cola, right?
They have more in Coke. Oh my gosh, much more.
More than that.
Much more. So
Way more than
Coke
that.
is already too much sugar for the day.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean,
Our sponsor's really gonna drop us. Damn.
Sorry, but I just read this.
I told you, go with Pepsi.
I mean, I just read this statistic that I think in America, people are ingesting like 44 teaspoons of sugar a day in their regular daily diet. They don't even know it on average, 44. So, I mean, if you could come down to even 4, like Heather said, you'd be doing amazingly at that point, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, even just tracking it and coming down. I mean, I drink a fruit smoothie almost every day, but I have no idea how much sugar is in that. This one's got like pineapple and orange and microgreens, and I have 0 idea how much sugar I've already consumed today off of just that.
I think the other side of it too is, I mean, you guys may disagree with me, but I think the other side of it is, like what Heather was saying, is like the type of sugar that you're getting. Even RJ mentioned that, the type of sugar that you're getting, because really your body needs sugar for energy. That's it. It actually gains energy from the sugars that we ingest. It's just the type. And I think that people, things like people get freaked out by just sugar because they're thinking about it in terms of white processed sugar. I mean, there's going to be sugars in all different types of carbs, the good carbs, especially like fruits and vegetables, and then of course the ones that aren't so good, like RG was mentioning about, like white rice, which is not going to be that beneficial because it's not going to give you nutrient density in your body or a pure energy source that your cells can actually use, So I think it has to do, a big part of the sugar equation is the type of sugar that you're putting into your body on a daily basis.
I like that you pointed that out. RG, let's go back to you. So you recently found out you're diabetic. What are some of the crazier revelations that you've learned about what you have to do now versus before?
Definitely looking into like focusing more on your diet and your like overall lifestyle change. I typically usually work out, so that's not the problem. But to me, like it's more of like the bad sugar intake, if that makes sense. I'm in the Navy, so we do watches. We do a lot of like, I guess, like high stress things throughout the day, because being in the military is all about mission. That's always going to be what's ingrained to you. Mission first before you. Mission first before your family. Like even though leadership would say, hey, take care of yourself, take care of your family first, but when that mission comes in, that is the primary goal. That is the primary thing that we need to worry about. So like looking back, let's say you go and watch, so our typical watches would be like anywhere from like 4 to 12 hours, just depending on your job. When you're like on a 4-hour watch at the very minimum, and let's say you do it on the nighttime where your body is not inclined to be awake at night, for example, how do you make sure you keep yourself awake? You either drink a lot of caffeine or a lot of sugar. So that alone, like that, kind of like messes up with your diet, because like your energy drinks, your soda, candies that you take, any desserts, that's like additional sugar on top of what you already eat, that kind of like messes up your diet and your overall lifestyle.
Yeah, I like it. So you had a lot of rice, and rice was the big issue for you, huh?
Yeah.
All right. That's a great question. We got a question from the audience. Is it possible to completely eliminate sugar from my life?
I would say
I don't
no.
think it's, yeah, I wouldn't
And
think so.
I would say you don't really want to completely eliminate sugar from your life. I think you would want to eliminate processed sugar from your life, absolutely.
Okay.
But I think that, I mean, in order to completely eliminate sugar from your life, you would just have to stop eating, period. Because,
Especially
even,
in America, there's sugar in everything.
yeah, and not only that, but even so, like we were mentioning a little while ago, there's sugar in vegetables. It's just part of the way that they're designed, part of their design, but the reason why they're that way is to give our bodies energy. So you can completely eliminate or get close to eliminating processed sugar from your life. That you could do, but I don't think you want to eliminate fruits and vegetables, even though there's sugar in them, because your body needs them for energy.
Or you could just do the carnivore diet and you just eat steak all day long. Heather, let me ask you this. So if we don't want processed sugar, do you want most of your sugar to come from fruits, I guess, fruits and veggies?
Ideally, that's going to help because you have like the added fiber, add to your water intake through those sources as well. So you're going to get more health benefits. Like I mentioned before, when we consume a bunch of sugar, that's going to be high quality, but not, or I mean, high calorie, but not high quality. So the nutritional value that comes from just your glucose, or your white table sugar, there's not a lot of nutritional value that's added to that. With like your fruits and your veggies, then we have stuff your body can actually use when we consume those calories.
Very cool. Interesting. How many grams of sugar do you eat a day, Heather?
How many grams of sugar do I eat in a day? I do eat about 4 servings of fruit a day.
Do you
It
track
depends.
how much sugar from the fruit you eat?
Um, no, I look at just how I balance my blood sugar by how I pair my foods. Um, so how what you were talking about earlier, where if you cook your rice in oil, that it will offset the glycemic index. So what that means, so the more quickly, so the white sugar, or, white breads, white rice, those kinds of things, what happens is the blood sugar spike and drop, and that's where our energy follows, and we plummet. So if we can pair our foods with some fats, with some proteins, that will help slow down that digestive process so that we don't experience that spike and drop as intensely.
Okay, okay. RG, on your path of your new life, what carbs have you found you can eat or you enjoy eating to replace rice?
Honestly, for me, I've really tried to like eliminate rice. And like for example, like if I eat carbs nowadays, I would typically find like a substitute per se. Like for example, like if I eat pasta, like I would want to like, instead of like the traditional pasta that you could buy from the store or whatever, um, I would buy like a vegetable base. For example, like a chickpea pasta, spinach, and all that stuff.
Okay. Or spaghetti
So
squash.
yeah, not that one.
Oh, you don't use spaghetti squash and make spaghetti out?
No,
Oh, you're
no.
missing out. It's the best replacement for pasta out there.
Okay.
You'll have to try it sometime. Do you guys think we're in a sugar epidemic in America?
I do. I definitely do. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
I think it has to do with I think it has a lot to do with marketing and money, honestly. I think that food manufacturers have tapped into the fact that sugar has a lot of addictive qualities, and I think that they build it into a lot of processed foods, especially, and then people just kind of get hooked on them like they would a drug, but they don't realize it. In fact, I think there's studies that show that, the brain responds to sugar intake the way that a heroin addict responds to heroin or a cocaine addict responds to cocaine. So it has all these addictive qualities, and they put it in everything. It's in drinks, sugary drinks. It's in your venti cappuccinos. It's in your frappuccinos. It's in your fruit juices. It's in your sports drinks. It's just everywhere. And then once you start anything that's addictive, once you start eating it or using it, you want to use more of it. And that's just kind of how it is. And I think that just kind of feeds into it. And then scary, but true. I mean, there's all of these other issues, chronic health related issues that are related to the sugar problem, like diabetes, like, fatty liver disease, like, inflammatory states like obesity. And all of these things can also be precursors to other illnesses, serious illnesses like heart disease, cancer. You know what I mean? So I think, yeah, it totally is.
All right, we've got a question. What is the easiest way to help myself swap sugary drinks for water or unsweetened alternatives?
Just decide what's more important to you.
Yeah.
My health.
Yep.
Or not.
Yeah, I think the other thing too is to kind of maybe if you have to transition to like a natural sweetener alternative to kind of transition yourself over to something like monk fruit, organic monk fruit, or maybe organic stevia, or maybe raw honey. Even though they all have sugars in them, I don't think it's realistic. It would be like telling an alcoholic to stop drinking alcohol tomorrow. I just don't think it's realistic. And if you make it too hard for yourself and you set that impossible bar, it'll be impossible to get there. So you have to find ways to transition out, especially if you have a lot of sugar in your diet currently. So, and then, if you were to like, let's say for argument's sake, like if you were to say make iced tea, okay, if you buy an iced tea drink, it's going to have so much sugar in there, you might as well just drink Dr. Pepper, honestly.
And then Heather will be mad at you because it's more than 8 grams of sugar for damn sure.
Well, definitely. And so even if you were to make your own iced tea and put like a teaspoon of sugar in it, it's infinitely less sugar than you would get in this processed drink. So, and then like I was saying, if you want to transition to another type of sweetener, like if you did want to use raw honey, at least it's a nutrient. It has nutrients in it, other things in it that can be beneficial to your body, even though it's a sweetener. So I think it's kind of a balancing
not
act.
Completely made in a laboratory.
Yeah, exactly. Something natural would be totally a better choice than anything else that you're going to find on the shelf.
An easy first step if you are drinking pop or juices is start mixing them with water. Just start watering it down until eventually LaCroix tastes good to you. I mean, essentially, when I stopped drinking, that's what you start getting rid of shots, and then you start getting you stop drinking the 8% beers, you start going to 6, and you drink the lights, until eventually you're like, all right, I'll just drink non-alcoholic beers forever. All right, guys, we are at a point in our show where we need to come up with our daily challenge. This thing needs to take less than 5 minutes per day, cost $0, and be available to anyone in the world from California to South Africa. What tips, thoughts, or what do you guys think our daily challenge should be?
That's a tough one.
I think just a glance at your nutrition label before you consume something, just quick, check it out, just to bring awareness to yourself of like, oh, wow, there's a lot more happening here than I realized.
I agree.
I think that's a great idea. Some sort of log or journal. RG, do you keep a log at all to keep track of your sugar intake?
I have a log for the blood sugar levels. I do it like once a day, and then if I'm feeling like a little bit lightheaded or something, then I would start taking blood sugar notes again, just so I can keep track. Um, so, but for the challenge, I want to say like go with like the plate method. To me, it's worked so far. Where like you look at your plate, obviously don't use a big plate where like you just put on as many food as you can. Um, and basically let's just say like a either an 8 or 10 inch plate, whatever. And then you look at that plate, and then you want to make sure half of that is basically your non-starchy vegetables, for example, and then 1/4 of that would be your carbohydrate intake if you can't skip your carbs, and then 1/4 of that would be your protein or something. So you're lessening your carbohydrate slash sugar intake, but you're also like consuming more vegetables throughout your day.
Awesome. All right. All right. Well, you got any ideas? Anything to add on, Barbara or Heather?
Um, I think probably an idea might be to like look at what you're drinking, because I think that people don't realize that drinks count as far as the sugar is concerned. I think people think more like when they think about sugar, they think about cookies or they think about sweets or baked stuff like that. But people just don't realize what's in the drinks. So I think the next time you're thinking about grabbing something, or even if you're out, maybe just to make a mental note, think about, what's the sugar content. And then by doing that, that kind of goes with like what Heather suggested about raising that kind of awareness. It gets you sort of thinking in that way. And then when you get to that point, then you can start making better choices that, will be better for your body. So that would be my tip.
So I think a theme that we should definitely have in this challenge is something about awareness, right? We need to know, like eating rice every day is not great for you. So maybe, I mean, I like looking at nutrition at labels. Maybe it should be something about like, think about the day before and write down like, oh, I mean, it's gonna be hard to make everyone track it if they're not used to it, but at least getting the awareness. Maybe we write down like 5 things we ate and the sugar count in those 5 things.
Yeah. Or what else you could do is people could, like, right now, go into your pantry right this second,
Ooh.
grab like 5 things in there and check those labels and just look, what is the sugar content in those 5 things. Just do a little experiment.
All right, I like that. So, and we'll say anything throughout the day. It doesn't have to be in your pantry because maybe you get through that in like 2 or 3 days if you live meagerly. But yeah, I would say you look at 5 different things, whether it's in a grocery store, convenience store, gas station, or your own fridge, and you write down what the product is and how much sugar is in it. So we know for the future. How do you guys like that one?
I think that's doable. I could do it.
In your pantry or fridge, local store, and write down the sugar content. Now, yeah, I think that's really good. Awareness is a big thing. Just writing down, oh wow, I didn't realize that chocolate milk has this much sugar. I didn't realize this has this.
Yeah, or snap a picture of that label, and kind of post it, and then kind of see like,
I didn't. That's a good idea. I'll probably do that.
25 grams of added sugar in there, and that's going to be the line you're going to look for.
Oh man, there's this one time. So I live on an island,
like
so
sauces.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, ketchup
stuff. Yeah.
My buddy does not eat ketchup, and he's like, "Look at how much sugar is in there," and I was like, "Oh fuck, I gotta stop eating ketchup."
Put some sugar on your sugar.
Ketchup for sure is a fucking sugar hater. Yeah, there's this one drink on this island that's super popular. When I looked at it, it's like 120 added grams of sugar. I was like, this is literally just sugar with a splash of water. I was like, Jesus Christ, it's wild.
Melt it
All right,
down,
guys.
shake
Well,
it
we everyone good with that daily challenge? RG, Heather, you guys approve it?
I'm good with it.
Yes.
All right, we're gonna be challenging you guys to do it as well. But that is going to be the end of our episode. We did what we needed to do. How much sugar in sea moss? Don't even start. There's no sugar in sea moss. It's perfect. Get as much as you can. All righty. Well, I'm going to put you guys on the backstage here and wrap this up. Awesome. Thank you all for watching another episode of Millionaires Are Made. Hope you guys learned something, man. That was informative. All about sugar and your physical health. Man, if you follow our daily challenge, you're going to learn there's so much sugar in this world. Before we go, we do have to send a huge thank you to our guests. Thank you guys for coming. Damn, that was a good episode. Lots of insightfulness. We also have to say thank you to our sponsors. Quick few shout outs here. Huge shout out to Whoopsie Hair Ties, where style meets resilience. Their link's being dropped right now. They redefine the ordinary with their versatile, durable accessories. Celebrate strength and uniqueness with every twist. Join and embrace the power of Whoopsie Hair Ties today. Click that link. Please support our sponsors. They help us so we can make this all happen. Reboot by Gone. Meet Charles Smith Jr., a multi-award-winning entrepreneur, published author, and dynamic motivational speaker. With his powerful message, Reboot My Way of Thinking, Charles, who is amazing, provides invaluable tools for gaining clarity on identity and empowerment. Connect with him at Reboot by Gone. That link is being dropped below. And start your transformative journey today. We also have an awesome, rock-solid women's empowerment coaching, Bonnie Hardy. She's amazing. She lives in Atlanta. She actually owns the Airbnb property where she hosts her retreats. She specializes in a cool coaching tool called the Wheel of Life. So if you're interested in getting some women's empowerment coaching, go contact her. Link is dropped right now. And our final sponsor for this episode is Lioness Proof Coaching. In a time when mediocrity is running rampant, you can say that again, Lioness Proof Coaching is here to help women up level their health and unlock their inner lioness to have more energy. Rawr. By looking at what is holding us back, like alcohol, fuck alcohol, we can eliminate distractions and focus on what matters most in life, and laziness and excuses will be a thing of the past. Again, thank you so much, guys,